Welcome back to another episode of the TechTual Talk. Today, we're diving into an inspiring tech journey with our special guest, Devonie, a trailblazing security engineer who transitioned from teaching and customer service to making her mark in the world of cybersecurity. Our host, HD, explores Devonie's reflections on patience in her career, layoffs, her candidate experience with healthcare, and the challenging of balancing life and work in a demanding field. We'll also touch on the evolving landscape of tech careers, uncovering the nuances of remote work, pay discrepancies, and booming potential of driverless cars like Waymo. Devonie shares her struggles and triumphs from self-learning technical skills to leveraging LinkedIn for career growth, securing certifications, and navigating the biases within the hiring processes. Join us as we highlight key insights on the importance of passion, diversity, education, mentorship, and the crucial role that organizations play in shaping aspiring cybersecurity professionals. From personal anecdotes about family support to strategic advice on career transitions, this episode is packed with valuable lessons and real-world experiences that will resonate with anyone passionate about tech and personal growth. Don't miss out on this engaging discussion. This video is being brought to you by Level Up in Tech. It's Q3 in 2024, but you still have time to get into the cloud. With the quick search for cloud in Indeed, you can see over 44,000 jobs are listed that is related or pertaining to the cloud. Now, that is a lot. But if you're watching this right now, you might be thinking, well, how do I learn the skills to get into the cloud? Well, we got you covered. Level Up in Tech is one of the best, if not the best, program related to getting people into the cloud. At Level Up in Tech, you can learn about server config and troubleshooting, the AWS cloud, infrastructure as code, CI/CD, scripting, containerization, and more. And also, they now also have a new multi-cloud AI engineering program that is dedicated to help you have the latest and greatest skills to help you be marketable in this tech market. They post more testimonials than almost any program that I could think of. Check them out. Now, if you're ready to start your cloud career today, then use the link in my description to go to levelupintech.com/tech so you can start your career. And plus, they'll know that I sent you. But on to the video. Welcome back to the TechTual Talk podcast. I'm your host, HD, and we got a lovely guest for y'all today. Her name is Devonie, and she traveled all the way down to Dallas to be with us today. But if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you know what to do. Follow us. Leave us a comment. Helps us out with the podcast metrics. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you know what to do. Subscribe, like, comment, do whatever. Hit that bell icon and hit all to be notified when we dropping all content. And I'm laughing, guys, because before we started, I was trying to make sure I did not butcher her name. And right when I said the intro, I actually messed her name up. But it's all good. We're going to get to it. We're going to get it. But Devonie, how you doing today? I'm
great. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. How was your coffee?
It was actually really good. There's a really cute little coffee shop across the street.
Yeah. I ain't going to lie. Sometimes a cheat code, if people don't want to take pre-workout, just get you an iced coffee and then go to the gym.
Mm-hmm. Maybe not an iced coffee. Iced coffee, for some reason, it doesn't do it for me. I don't know if it's my mind. I feel like to get energy, my coffee has to be hot.
Really?
Yeah.
I got an espresso at home, but I really am.
Oh, you bougie.
Well, I guess. I mean, only because I want I got still a regular coffee maker, but I don't use anymore. But I've tried my hand to make my own iced coffee at home, and it's all right. It's not what it tastes like at the place, but I'm getting better at it.
I'm talking about you. I literally use a French press. Like, I manually make my coffee.
Exactly. Now, you the one that's bougie. I don't even know what a French press is.
It's really nice. It changed the game on the coffee. The taste of it is very similar to like the Nespresso.
I feel like most people I think you're remote, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think most people that at home either have a coffee maker or like a bougie coffee maker. Mm-hmm. They have something they can make their tea with. Like we also have the water dispenser where we get the 5-gallon thing delivered to us.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's next on my list.
Yeah, so you got the room temp water and then the cold and hot. It's an easy way to make your tea in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that actually should be like a show. Like, hey, what are your things that you need to work from home?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's very much so a thing. Certain type of ways. Like, for example, I know I used to have my desk facing the window because I would get the good light and all that, but I didn't feel that productive that way. And I did some reading. I seen something on some feng shui stuff, and it's like, hey, don't have your desk hitting the window. Have your desk cornered or whatever facing the door. And since I did that, way more productive when I go to the office.
Really?
Yeah.
Now you gonna have me go home and change my
I
desk.
bet you'd be like, you know what? I am more productive.
Yeah. Because I don't care for the light coming in, but it was like the only spot to put it in my room.
Yeah. I mean, you can always add lights to your desk. That way you can get
Mm-hmm.
your light that you need. I don't know. And it's something about having your back to the door that's kind of like,
Yeah.
I need to see who coming in at any given time, especially like how my stuff is set up is perfect. So if I am on a meeting or a call, at least you have to walk around to my desk to actually get in the frame. If my desk is facing the window, if you walk in the door, somebody gonna see you.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense because sometimes I'll be home, I'll be working. My mom, I'll be like, "Hey, I'm on a call right now. You can't come in." My daughter, nobody cares. Nobody cares what I'm doing. They just walk in, and my mom will come in and hand me my mail. I'm like, I am on it. I'm talking to a vendor right now.
Yeah.
I have things to do.
Yeah, I have. Well, granted, it used to work, but my oldest daughter's figured out how to open. We have these little doorknob things, and they go over the doorknob and they like just turn on the doorknob. So it's supposed to be for people who understand the two openings. You squeeze a little bit and open. She's figured out how to do that, so she knows how to open most of the doors. Now, the 3-year-old, she doesn't know how to do that yet, so that still works when I close up the door. But it's like the struggle of parenting is trying to outsmart the toddlers, and until they actually start outsmarting you.
Yeah, my toddler can unscrew anything, like all of my face products, literally anything in the bathroom. She can open it all up, but she cannot open the doors yet. So I'm still
Yet.
winning there.
Keywords yet.
Right.
When she starts, you can say, "Hey, what's them things you were talking about?" but no. In all seriousness, Devonie, can you introduce yourself to our guest?
Hi, my name is Devonie. I'm a junior security engineer. I've been in my role for about a year now, and I just graduated with my master's degree.
Okay, now we know that's not the full story.
No.
So we want to unpack.
It's a long story.
That's what we do on this podcast. We have real conversations, and so it's somebody out there that's a Devonie, and we want to connect with them. So I know you gave us the Cliff Notes version, but what made you want to get into cybersecurity?
Money. Okay, so originally I had a friend who had been working in tech for a while, and specifically in information security, and I had some life events go on. I was married previously and didn't work out, so I moved home, fresh new start, had a daughter. She was 3 months old at the time. So it was honestly out of necessity that I was like, I have to find something. I have to find a career and not just a job, so that I can sustain us. So I just took inspiration from my friend. She seemed to really like what she did. She was making great money and she had been in it for a while. So I'm like, okay, the longevity is there. So I decided to explore it, and just due to the circumstances, I just went all in. So a lot of people ask, like, what did you do to get into cybersecurity? Literally everything that I could. Like, I did all of the things. I jumped into my master's program very shortly after I found out I was laid off from my job, while I was still on maternity leave. So it was a lot, but also it gave me the freedom to be able to take on more classes, more trainings, and I just like fully immersed myself in the learning. Luckily, even though it was like inspired by the stability of the career, I feel like I really found where I was supposed to be. So now it's not just for the money. The money is great, but it's not just about the money anymore.
Great. So you said a lot, and I want to definitely get into, I guess, what were you doing before you decided to get into cybersecurity?
So many things.
Well, specifically the job that laid you off.
I was working for a company. I won't say their name, but they sell bikes. So I was actually living in Dallas at the time, and I was working out of the Plano office. I was remote, but my home base was the Plano office. Our entire office got let go. So I really did research to make sure they could lay me off while I was on maternity leave.
They do it all the time. It's pretty common.
They could. I was literally, when I got the call that I was being laid off, the woman who called me to let me know, she didn't know that I was still on maternity leave. I was supposed to go back to work that next week. I thought they were calling to like make sure I had all of my things. And no, she was like, well, unfortunately, I'm like, wait, what do you mean? As my like 3-month-old was crying in the background, like, unfortunately, what? So, yeah, it was rough, but I was just doing customer service in that role. It
Okay.
was something that I had gotten into just to because I needed insurance to have my child.
Right. And I want to say Texas is an at will state too. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like one of those things. So the good thing is at least you got laid off early in your career to understand the you now understand about being loyal to yourself
Mm-hmm.
versus really getting engulfed in a company and being in love with the company so much. I hate we always make these comparisons, but having a job because you spend so much time like at work, whether you're remote or going to office, it's like a relationship. It's similar to like if you were either married or you're in a relationship with somebody. Unfortunately, heartbreak or getting divorced or whatever, it kind of makes you like, okay, love me loving this job ain't the only thing that's gonna keep me at this job, ain't the only thing that's gonna keep sustain my career. It's not the only thing that's gonna sustain my relationship. It's other stuff that's engulfed in that this relationship is about.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, sometimes the hard way is like it's on them, but a lot of times it's not on them. It's just it happened for a reason, and then it helps you out to be a better person. I know my layoff, really, my head is always on a swivel. Like
Mm-hmm.
once it happens, especially most of the time it happens because it's not shocking for people to be laid off multiple times in their career. Luckily, I've only been laid off once.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, it's always a job you really like, or either it got something that you need. Like mine was my first security job that laid me off,
Okay.
and so I was like, "Dang, how could they?" or whatever. Like I'm like, because you're thinking, you really are thinking like, "Hey, I'm doing the best work out of everybody. Why me?"
Well, that's the thing too. So I guess that experience, it taught me to, like you said, keep your head on a swivel, but also it taught me to make sure that I specialize in something that is nothing is irreplaceable, but something that is hard to replace. So now where I'm focused at work is making sure I'm growing in the skill set that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah,
So
we'll definitely delve into that. So you decide. So what was your? I know you got your master's. So what was your bachelor's in?
biology.
Okay.
I was pre-med when I was an undergrad.
Did you like grow up watching Grey's Anatomy and stuff?
No,
House.
no, I actually never wanted to be a doctor. Before actually being in college, my dad had gotten really sick,
Oh,
so I
okay.
spent a lot of time in hospitals and just watching like the care or treatment, lack of care with him, and I was just like, okay, like I see what y'all doing, I could do it better, kind of thing. But after that whole experience, I realized that that wasn't my passion. I had that passion from my father, not to do it as my career.
Yeah.
So I graduated, and I was so deep in when I came to that realization that I just went ahead and finished the degree. But I didn't obviously I didn't go to medical school.
Yeah, no, I got you. I mean, at least you realize that. I don't be beating down on nurses or anybody in the medical field, but a lot of them are in it for the check and not because they want to help people.
Exactly.
And jobs like that, you need to be in there because you want to help people.
Yeah, and after seeing that firsthand, I'm like, I could never do that. So another one of my very many jobs that I had before I got here, I was also a teacher, and that was another thing. So like, if you have a biology degree, you can't do anything with it but go back to school or teach. So I taught, and I taught fourth grade. It was not for me, and it was kind of the same sentiment. I'm like, okay, well, I can't, I wouldn't want to do anybody's child a disservice by teaching them or being in this position of leadership to children, and I know my heart's not in it, and my heart was not with the fourth grade. I loved them; they were my babies, but it was not.
Yeah,
to
I
teach.
think we see a lot of teachers who heart not in it, but it's a check.
Right.
It's a check they know gonna come on whatever they get paid. What, monthly or semi-monthly?
I think when I was there, it was monthly.
So they get paid on the 1st or the 30th, whatever they get paid on. They off in the summer. They know they're gonna get paid, and all of them is treating it like a job, none more, none less. Which I can't blame them for because they don't get paid enough to kind of put up with what they got to put up with. So that's a whole nother thing when it comes to being a teacher. And my patience, my patience is short. So I don't think I'll be able to be a teacher.
Yeah, it was definitely a huge learning curve with the patience for me for sure, and I didn't have it. I wasn't built for it. I commend people out there that can do it, it was not for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the ones who are good and their hearts are in it, and that's the role that they should be in. I definitely believe they should be paid more.
Right. Yeah. And then I recognize firsthand too with like the lack of care people get like in hospitals and stuff like that. I know when my grandpa, when he got really sick, I stayed overnight. Well, I got to stay overnight with him at the whatever facility it was, and the nurse only came in there one time throughout the whole night. And I was to my mom and I said, "Hey, the nurse only came in here once. I'm not like a qualified person to look after him." It was like I think he pulled his thing out his nose to breathe, and whatever medicine had my papa on, he was gone at the time. He was trying to go home because he didn't really know where he was. This is a lot going on. I was like, just think if people aren't here, people don't have their family members who come here. We know y'all not coming here seeing about these people, which is just one of them things. That's like, I know, I think I told them, my parents, I was like, I'm better off, look, whenever y'all get sick, just having a house big enough to where y'all just come stay with me. We get somebody to come sit in our house with you versus wasting money and putting you in like what's that, like a nursing home before he like died, whatever. I think like a nursing home. And I was like, yeah, I probably wouldn't waste money on that. Like,
and they're really expensive, like really, really, really expensive.
Yeah.
So, and to the care or lack of care that they receive there is crazy. A lot of people will start like those homes, like the assisted living homes, group homes, things like that. And again, goes back to like just doing it for the check. And that's never been me. And that's why when I started this, I thought that I was getting into a career that I could do just for a check. Like that's kind of what I went into this with. Like I had my daughter, and I'm like, okay, I need to be able to just go to work. I need to be able to learn a skill, be able to do my job, go do my job, and go home and have a life. And then I jumped into cybersecurity, and now like this is my whole life. This is all I do.
Yeah. And that's the thing. So there's this thing, I don't know if you're on Twitter or not.
Off and on.
So a lot of times years ago on Twitter and everything, there were these talks about you need to be passionate about your job, and people saying, well, you don't need to be passionate and this and that. I was like, it's like a middle point. I would hope somebody's passionate about what they want to do because it's going to help them stay good at it. Because granted, I think you're at a newer company. But if you ever leave that company and go to a company that's been established for 50, 60, 70, almost 100 years, you're going to see some of the people that's been there for a long time, that passion been long gone. And they just getting their check. And I think everybody eventually gets there when they realize like it is what it is, that this company's nothing going to change. I don't feel like interviewing no more. I got a good enough salary. My kids are grown out the house. My house paid off. I got retirement. Look, I'm doing this until like, I think these are very much so human things they care about. But I think when you're starting off, you can't afford that luxury because a lot of times, well, at least I don't see anywhere where people may be at a company for a super long time anymore unless it's a government type of job. I just don't see it possible anymore. I think those days are gone of us sitting around for a very long time. But we tell people, when you get in this industry, you better make sure that you're staying current and you're learning everything. Because one of the main questions they ask the newbies is, hey, how do you keep up with the threats? How do you stay current? So I just said all that to say, like, you're definitely right. That's how it gets you. Like, you think, oh, because everybody saw, oh, I'm working remote. I'm making $150,000. I'm going to get my nails done. I'm going to get pedicures and massages. So that's what everybody saw because that was the good grift during the pandemic.
Because that's what you show on the TikTok. That's what that's what gets views. That's what gets clicks. Like that. This is the tech lifestyle. It look good, but you don't see me in my room studying at 1:30 in the morning because I just put my baby to bed. Y'all don't see that part.
Yeah, and to be honest, most of the people that's doing the lifestyle content were people that was not in like technical like security roles. It was a lot of people that was either doing recruiting or tech sales or something else. It was just cool to say, yeah, I took my meeting down by the beach or whatever. It's like, you ain't see nobody say, hey, this what happened when you got woke up out of your sleep at 3:30 in the morning because you're on call and it's an incident on a Saturday. So the time you got it off and your little girl was 3 months, what year was this, 2020, 2021?
2022.
Okay, 2022.
August of 2022 is pretty much when I say my start was.
Okay. So, what made you choose? What made you choose? I guess the education route. It was just because, and I'm gonna be candid right here, or whatever. So I don't take any offense to it. Was it because okay, hey, I can go back to school, get a master's. This is a good enough school, and because I'm getting a master's, I can get some extra money while I'm in school, just because of like you said, situation, move back home, and you trying to survive. Like, was that like what you thought about?
Yeah. And that's all I knew. I did not like I don't come from a family that has like everybody is educated, like now, like the younger generation of my family, everybody is going to school and getting their degrees and things like that. But I have older siblings, and I got my bachelor's first. Like, so I didn't really have the groundwork set for me to be able to see like, okay, if you want to do something different, take these steps, to avoid jumping into a master's program and not knowing what you're doing. Would I advise anybody to if you starting out on this journey, call up your nearest college and just jump in? No, absolutely not. That was crazy. It worked out, but that was a really dumb decision. I was really playing roulette with my money.
You can say that, but at the same time, and this is why I like the pushback on universities. They should have prereqs for people to do certain majors.
Yeah, and so with mine, I had no idea at the time. My degree is basically a business degree. My master's is in security management. It's not a technical degree at all. So my focus is on cybersecurity. So I had some loosely technical classes, like a networking class, things like that. But it was really to be able to manage security professionals. It wasn't for me to be able to practice security myself. So I had to do a lot of learning on the back end. And that started with learning what I was even doing at school, because I didn't know what I signed up for. And that's why I say like it was a really dumb decision to just jump into it, because I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just taking a chance.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. It's kind of like when people ask me, "Oh, what should I do or school?" I was like, "Man, do what works for you." But I was like, I do say exceptions don't make the rule. And granted, I seen you on my post that I made about the help desk stuff. We'll talk about that too. And these are one of the things that you can run into. And fortunately enough for her, it worked. But a lot of times, people will go out to school and then they'll have the degree, but then they don't know anything. But I will tell you the fact of knowing how to pretty much, if the most of the people who get paid a lot are less and less technical and more business savvy, they know the ins and outs, they understand metrics, and they know how to talk to other people on a regular level. And that's why they get paid the big bucks. So knowing how to do that is a skill set within itself. Because my master's is in technology management. I didn't pick cyber because I was already in cyber. I was like, I'm going to keep this a little general in case, like, hey, somebody say, you want to be an IT director? You want to do this or that? I was like, it's pretty much a lot of overlap there anyway. So that's why I got mine in technology management for that very reason. Because initially I wanted to go to school into management because, like, I want to help more of us get jobs. And then that's when you kind of get into corporate long enough to realize, even if I get in management, that's probably not going to happen.
Right. Because there are still checks and balances. People still have to sign off on whoever you bring it on to your team. They have to fit the culture, whatever that means. So.
Yeah. So that's when I said that. It wasn't until years later until I started the channel. It's like, this is going to be my way that I help more people get in than I probably would ever do at any job. So it's 2022. You got a newborn. You're going through school, man. That's rough. I couldn't imagine. I got a newborn. He will be 2 months. Next Sunday? Yeah, he'll be 2 months. I couldn't imagine going back to school with him and then my toddlers and stuff. Like I couldn't imagine. It's hard enough as it is now sometimes to get studying in between doing stuff for them.
I was really blessed. Like I had the support from my mom. Like my mom is older, so she's 72. I hope she's not watching this.
She definitely gonna watch it.
She's retired. So like with my siblings, there's like a 17-year age gap between myself and my siblings. So
you're the baby?
Yeah, I'm the baby.
Oh, you like my sister.
I grew up with my nieces and nephews, not my siblings. So yeah, it's a really big age gap. So like all of my nieces and nephews which were my mom's first set of grandkids, she didn't really get a lot of time with them.
Mm-hmm.
So like when my daughter came, now she's retired. Now we live in her house. So she's like eating it up. Like she's so happy. Like she
so happy to
loves
be a
that my
grandma.
daughter is there. Yeah. So I had so much support. And I don't know, sometimes when I talk about my journey, like even though it was hard, like obviously like how I ended up in that situation, it sounds really bad when you read it on paper, like, oh, you got divorced, you had a baby, like all the things, right? Got laid off. But I had so much support from my mom, like just being able to say, hey, whatever you need to do, I have the baby, like do your thing. So I was able to be up at one in the morning studying. I was able to go to Afrotech, my first conference, and be in Austin for the week and know that my child was taken
That's
care
in
of.
2022.
That was in 2022.
Did we run it? I'm trying to see. Did you run into me there?
I don't think so.
I was there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
I was there. I don't know if you know who the Job Father is, Jermaine Jupiter.
Yes.
He was there. A lot of us. Was
I didn't
there.
know. I didn't know anybody in the industry at that point, so I didn't know who to look for.
That's our first time meeting. Like I had people.
I saw Simone Bees there, but I didn't know who she was at that point.
Yeah, that's the first time I met Bees. Like, cause a lot of us had met each other through the pandemic, through Twitter, and then this was our first time coming in contact with everybody in person. And I had like people like they'll look for me afar. They'll look. Do you have a YouTube channel? And then I was like, yeah, that's me. And then they'll come up and speak and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm surprised. But it was a lot of people. But I ran into like most of the people that I knew.
Mm-hmm.
But that's cool. I'm glad that worked out for you. And I thought about a real question right here, right? And like I said, I have all different type of guests on there and probably watchers. Even though men watch more of my content, women still watch too. They come in all the time, especially when I bring women on. And I want to ask this. It could be a little bit personal, so you actually can say, I don't want to answer that. But were you dealing with like any type of postpartum stuff going on while like you still was on maternity leave, then you get laid off, and now you're like, okay, what is going on? I got a crying baby here. I have no job. Like, was you like going through all that stuff too in the midst of trying to do stuff?
No.
Okay.
Thank God. I literally like. When I tell you my mama was my backbone during that whole time, like it was almost like I feel like a lot of mothers feel like they wish they could like clone themselves. I cloned myself. Like I had another mom. Like it wasn't like obviously, the ideal would be to have like a family structure,
Right.
but it was like the next best thing, man. Like literally when my baby was crying, my mom knew what to do because she was already a mom, right?
Yeah.
So like a lot of
Just like riding a bike.
right. So I feel like a lot of women I didn't personally have postpartum depression, so I'm not sure what the actual triggers are. I know that for me, if I did not have that support, I would have spiraled. I would have been in a really really dark place. And because I had that support, I didn't have to go there. Like I was able to do whatever I needed to do to heal at that time and, start the new professional endeavors and school and all the things. So everything was, even though it was like a bad situation, everything could go right. Everything that could go right went right. So.
Okay. Yeah. It's funny because like talking to you, it sounded like a mix of my baby sister and my mom. My mom had me because I'm her oldest. She still was staying with my grandparents at the time. And my grandmother at the time was, of course, she had her 6 kids and then she was a nurse. But she was like, Granny had you spoiled. I'd be asleep. You be crying. She come in and feed you and change you and put you back down. You be asleep. Like, so stuff like that. So she definitely, I think, but on both sides, that's kind of like how my family was. It was very helpful with my mom and the kids, whether, once I was way older before they started having kids. So like I'm 12, 13, and 16 years older than my siblings. Mm-hmm. So that's why I said, when you say my sister, I feel like she going to be you. Like, well, now that I got kids or whatever, mom is having a blast with them because they like are, I think I might be the same. I'm trying to see when it comes to parents. Like my mom started over with her when she was 40.
My mom had me at 40.
Yeah, so y'all literally gonna be the same. Like they right now, like I mess with them all the time. I said, Mom, y'all really Kim and Nikki Parker from the Parkers. But no, that's pretty cool that good experience like that. And that's why I think like one of the things like family is important. That's why I do say like it's that village thing because it's I don't gonna lie on us. It's pretty tough because it's just me and her, and then the kids. Like we have some family, like some friends out here, but it's not the same as if we was in our hometown. And hometown much different. You know what I'm saying? You can't because that's the hardest thing. You can't even like think about it. Like I'm different. Like we grew up like family watching this. We didn't have any strange like babysitters or stuff coming to the house. Like I'm very different. I don't even know how to. My kids are young, so I still don't even know how to feel about like having a babysitter come to the house one day. I don't know.
So
that seems like some white
me,
people stuff to me.
I think and that's the thing. I think it's cultural. I think in our community, it feels like you wear a badge of honor because you did it by yourself. Like, and for me, like when people ask, what's my biggest advice for people who are in like my situation, like single mothers that are doing this, take the help. When it's offered, take the help. Like nobody is going to give you a reward because you suffered the most while you did it. Like if you're looking for the same outcome, whether you have help while you're doing it or you don't, you're still going to make it. Like, so if you have somebody that can help you or you have resources that you could be seeking out to find help, do that. Like if there's a babysitter that can come, you know, do your due diligence and, you know, make sure that they're qualified, do what you can. But you don't win a prize for suffering the most. Like, so for me, like in my situation, when I moved home, when I moved back to my mom's house, I was like, okay, I gotta work my behind off and make sure that in 6 months I can move out of here because I didn't want anybody to look at me like, oh, you in your 30s and you live with your mom. And yeah, my mama love having me there. It's her favorite. So I could leave, and you know, right now financially, I'm in a position where I could sustain myself and my child, and you know everything. But make it harder on myself for what? You know?
Yeah. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I wouldn't care. Like if I had the opportunity to, by all means, I'd be moved in. Like I mean, I have an auntie out here. When I first moved out here, I moved in with her. So I was like, shoot, if I had to go move in with her, bring the kids and everybody, she'd be happy because it's just her at the house. But yeah, I think that's actually like very sound advice because people do. I think they always feel like they got something to prove. No, I don't need no help. I'm super strong. But
you can say you did it by yourself, and then what does that get you?
And I think in a way that makes some people, I don't say jaded, but in some way, like when you don't want to receive help, it make it very hard for you to receive help. Like going down the line, I don't need no help. I can do this on my own, or your expectations on others is kind of different because you feel like everybody could do stuff like you, but everybody can't handle stuff the way you can. And then I think that's when the people be like, well, why you can't do this? I'm a single mom, I do this, and this. You can't even do this. That's some of the things that you run into just because they've made themselves become superwoman. And now superwoman has like super level expectations, whether it's from friends, family members, or, you know, a person of interest. So, but this is not the dating show. But so what made you want to, I guess, or who told you, hey, you should start going to conferences and things of that nature?
Nobody. When I first started, I like got into LinkedIn and I just started kind of researching like, where do I need to be? Who do I need to talk to? Like, cause I knew I didn't have anybody to ask, right? My friend that was already in information security, she wasn't like out there like that, like going to conferences and like networking and stuff. She had already established herself. So she, not to say you don't need it, but you know, she was secure. So I'm like, I need to find people who need it. You know, I need to find people who need the help so I could be around them so we can find it together. So I found out about Afrotech. I went, I want to say I didn't get a scholarship to that one. I just got a student ticket that year. But it definitely introduced me to the need to network. Like that was literally right now, if anybody asks me how to start a career in tech, how to start a career in cybersecurity, I'm always going to talk about networking. And that was really where the push came from.
Yeah, that's what Greg and I talked about 2 episodes ago. It was about the way to fast track yourself to get into cybersecurity is networking, having a good mentor, having the skills to get in, and they could break down barriers that none of your degrees and certifications can do. Because all that's it's not hearsay, like it is an accomplishment, but nothing works better than you saying, okay, hey, I'm thinking about leaving my company. I see you work for company XYZ and I see they got a role here. And I do good work at the company. I've helped this team out a lot. And I said, hey, my friend Devonie, she's really good at this and she's interested in a role here. Like, here's her resume and stuff. And a lot of times that fast tracks you for a recruiter to call you and get her a possible interview. And if you nail it, you got a job quickly. Mm-hmm. You didn't have to be sifted through the 1,000 people that applied to the job.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the thing that people are missing. But the fact that you were smart enough to say, let me research. I did so many consultations where people have not researched anything about the industry. And it doesn't baffle me because some people don't know what to research, but it's just like at some point you're going to have to research to figure out what you want to do.
Right, exactly. When I went to Afrotech, I realized, like, being in my situation, because I didn't know anything, I didn't know what I didn't know. So, like, when I got there, I had just started this master's program in security management, still not really knowing what that meant. And people were asking me, like, oh, so what area of cybersecurity do you want to be in? Girl, I don't know. The cyber one? I don't know. Like, so I realized then, and again, like, back to the fast track thing, like, that fast tracked me to knowing you have to identify, where you want to be. You have to, sharpen certain skills to be in certain areas. I had no idea before going to that. So being in a conference with a massive amount of people who can just give you these nuggets, like, as you're moving through these booths and meeting different people who have been in the industry for a long time or new to the industry with you, like, it exposes you to so many different tracks. And I was able to gain so much just from that one conference. It was a little bit different last year because they kind of turned it into a party. But
yeah, it was, the first one. And so funny enough that you said that, it's like me and a couple of professional friends have talked about, like, if they want that conference to either get better or succeed, it has to get more technical. And it has to be a reason for, like, companies didn't really want to send their employees back last year because it's like, what is going to be the benefit of me sending you here? What are the sessions that you're going to be in? And so if you can't show them any of that, then it's like, I'm not sending you or you just pay for yourself. Mm-hmm. So that happened because I was able to go. Funny enough, I was at Afrotech at the time with JP Morgan, but I had a verbal offer from Yahoo. Like, so their booth was there. So I was talking to them. I was like, yeah, I'm about to be working with y'all. But they ended up pulling the offer because of, like, financial stuff for going into 2023. So I just thought that was hilarious. So, like, I was down there really, like,
you thought you was with your coworkers.
Yeah. Yeah, but I did a lot of networking there as well. Like, I met people, got to put, like, faces to names. And it's the red tape is cut. Like, whereas on LinkedIn, you got to come in and wait for them to message you back. You're right in front of the person.
A lot of them, they will have, I think a lot of people don't know this about conferences, but when you go to conferences, specifically, like, conferences targeted towards minorities, they will have their own, like, landing page for their career website that's tied to that, and they have a specific team that are reviewing those resumes from that conference.
Yeah, when we was at JP Morgan, I was in some WhatsApp, and they went down there with the mission to hire people. Mm-hmm. So in certain situations like that, they are trying to hire people. That's why you saw all these big booths competing, like, with each other, and Amazon had the best booth that year.
Yeah, the Amazon booth was really nice. I met somebody from AWS, and he became one of my initial mentors.
Okay.
So he was kind of like telling me everything that I needed to do. I met people from Palo Alto. Like,
they had a cool booth too.
They had a really cool booth, and all their people are always cool. I love going to their booths. But yeah, it was really helpful.
Palo Alto cool, but they was wild in that DEF CON.
I did not see them.
What's that Black Cat?
Oh, I know what you're talking about with the controversy. Okay, yeah.
They was wild.
I didn't go to that one. I didn't go to that after party.
They gotta apologize because that was wild. Now, you're in school. This is gonna be a 2-part question.
Okay.
What class was the first class you took that made you like, man, I don't know if I want to do this? And then what class made you say, oh yeah, I could do this? So, because you said I got in, I ain't really know nothing. I'm having to look up stuff outside of class to figure out what I'm doing. What class was that?
The first class that I was kind of like, it was definitely my networking course. It was like networking plus like a security plus foundations. Mm-hmm. It didn't make me. I never questioned if I could do it. It was just more so like bringing to my attention how much I did not know.
Right.
And I was like, wow, like I really got myself into something here. Like, it's not going to be easy. It is going to take a lot of dedication. And at that point, I think I got in at a good time where I was mentally ready and like just having that need for my family's sake to, to make this work. That all played into me being able to successfully finish. I finished my master's with a 4.0, but everything, everything worked out how it should. So the class didn't scare me. I was meeting at that time. My professor was offering like Saturday study sessions just apart from class, like on his own time, for us to study for Security Plus. Like it was a really good time. So that one kind of scared me, especially because we were doing we did a project with firewalls, and it was basically like configuring a firewall. I had never done this, so luckily, and this is the theme in a lot of like projects and things that I've done. I was partnering with people that didn't know what they were doing, so it's kind of like, and that
mimics real life.
Yeah, it taught me how to be on a team, and it's really what I do right now. Like, okay, I don't have this skill that you have, but okay, I can take the notes. I can do our documentation. You get in where you fit in, kind of thing. And I learned how to do that with that class. The class where I was like, I really like this was probably my digital forensics class, which was also a pretty technical course. But like using autopsy and like seeing what you can do, it was just really cool for me to find out. Like you hear all of the things that people can do. You hear what a hacker can do, on the computer, but like actually seeing it in real time and like seeing I can also do this, it was a pretty cool realization.
Yes. I know for me, forensics is what made me want to get in security.
Mm-hmm.
After I took that forensics course, I was like, man, what do I need to do to get in security? And met somebody who told me, granted, this is bad advice, but this was, 11 years ago? He was like, oh, go get your Security Plus. So that summer, I got my Security Plus. Thought I was ready to do something. I wasn't, but got my Security Plus. But speaking of certifications, do you hold any certifications yet right now?
Yeah, I have. I actually just got Security Plus finally in May. My first certification was the ISC Squared, the Certified in Cybersecurity, because it was free. I did it in partnership with WISA's Women in Cybersecurity. They had like a boot camp style thing, and they were like, "Oh, if you finish top 3, then you can get a scholarship to the WISA's conference." I was like, "Oh, I got to finish top 3," and I did. So that was my first certification, and that was actually the only certification that I had when I got hired for both of my security roles. So
yeah, no, because this is the thing. Like I deal with.
I have ITIL too.
Okay, I deal with like a lot of naysayers. They're always coming in my comments telling me things, and I'm trying to tell them, hey, I know people that don't have all these certs that you think you need. I just had a matter of fact. This comment's funny. I don't know if you saw my story the other day. But I've been getting so much. I've been getting so many responses to like it was a snippet out of one of our podcast episodes about WGU, and we pretty much chopped it up to where my friend Tavion was reacting to a video of this guy who got a cybersecurity degree from WGU and said he couldn't find a job, and we were talking about how WGU is really a better school built for people who have experience who just need to check out the checkbox. And then you should have heard everybody crying in the comments. And I'm like, did y'all listen to the video or y'all just want to be mad? Because I'm like, I'm telling you as a professional, having all those certifications don't benefit you. But I actually want to read, where's that comment the man said? It was pretty funny. Oh, I found it. He didn't even say nothing back to it. He said, I'm military. The education is free. I'm assuming this is the Bachelor of Computer Science, Information Assurance, or something like that. But he said BSCSIA. This is for WGU. I will have 10 industry certs. These will set me on a career path for cyber warfare, which has a wide outreach in the private sector. This video was an anemic attempt at best to dissuade going to an affordable college that's more accessible to people who have fast-paced lives. And I simply responded with, do you want a cookie? Because I just hate when a person, and that's the thing, I think that's why some people used to gatekeep. It's kind of like talking to kids, like when you're trying to tell a youngster something and they think they know something more than you know, that you've been doing it way longer than them. and like how people, most of us have worked with people that have no certs at all.
Mm-hmm.
If they do, that there's minimal, it's not a lot of certifications. And I'm like, first of all, the certs they have you get, they'll have you get A+ networks plus security plus. See why they'll have you doing all these different disciplines, and you don't even know what you want to do when you get out of school.
Mm-hmm.
You just got a lot of certs.
Yeah, because it really doesn't make sense if you have like, if I have a CISSP and then I have like a red team kind of cert, like that's two different career paths. Like are you going to be in management or are you going to be, a hacker? Like,
Right.
what do you want to do? So to me, the debate around like certifications versus school versus literally anything, I don't have one that I vote for.
Yeah, I think it's all nuance based on
what else are you doing. Like, I don't care what certification that you have. If you have a Security Plus, but you don't know what to do with it, I don't care. Like, will you check a box? Do I feel like certifications help you check boxes? Absolutely. There are a lot of, like, you have the ATS system or, whatever. You have people reviewing resumes who aren't actually in these roles that are only the hiring manager said, oh, they need to have the certified ethical hacker, whatever. That's what they're looking for. So it helps you in that sense. But practically on the job, when you're in an interview, like for me, I was in school, I was also working on certifications, but I also did personal projects. So a lot of people do projects on their own. I found companies that offered project experiences for free.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Talk about that, because one of the questions people have is, hey, what kind of home labs can I do? And this and that. And my answer is always general, because for one, I don't know what everybody wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I normally just say something like, hey, make a project that will resemble something that you would do day to day for the job you want to do. And of course, a lot of people don't know what the day to day activities look like for certain jobs they want to do. So how did you stumble upon projects that companies said to do?
Oh, I would love to talk about this. So there's a company, they're called Clicks, and I am not affiliated. I can't say I'm not affiliated with them because I work with them sometimes, but these people do not pay me. The program is free. Like, I literally was on LinkedIn one day and someone posted about Clicks, and they have, they're partnered with IBM, and now they're also partnered with Salesforce, and they probably have multiple other partners. They actually just connected with Women in Cybersecurity, which
Clicks,
I'm also a member of.
Y'all need to partner with me. Partner with the podcast.
If I'll send you their email so you can get a link.
Cool.
But I mean, it's a free program, so I promise you I'm not getting nothing out of saying this, but I found out about them. They offer like project experiences where you can do shadow sessions. So like you can do like a day in the life of a cybersecurity analyst. They have like where you can see practically what's happening in these roles. You're not just hearing about them and like what you need to know to do them. You're seeing what's actually happening, behind the curtain. So the shadow sessions are really cool. I did the project sprints, and they're offered in cohorts where it's like 3 weeks, and they partner you with, it's like 5 of y'all at the start.
How many at the finish?
By the end, I know in my first one, like we had people that kind of were tacked on at the very end because their entire group left them, and it was just only one person, so they came into our group. But you do, like the first one that I did was performing a vulnerability assessment as a security analyst, and it was because they're partnered with IBM. We had real data, and it was based. The first one was based on the Uber breach. And so we were basically given the scenario with like dummy data and basically told like, okay, how would you investigate this? Like, go ahead and do your vulnerability assessment, and they walk you through the steps, but they don't spoon feed everything to you. They don't handhold you through the entire process. Like, there's a lot of like, you have to go out and they're going to give you the information, but you got to find out what to do with it. So it taught me how to use like Mmap and Wireshark and like all those things that you would hear about that I'm learning, what is this for my Security Plus? But then here doing this project, I can actually see hands-on how to use it. And again, I was partnered with somebody who had just finished like a SANS training, and he was actually an instructor for the company for a while, but he knew what he was doing. So he was like showing us, okay, this is what you do with this. So it's a really good learning experience, again, for me to figure out how much I did not know. And yeah, it worked out for me. So I did 2 of those sprints, and that just going through that program for free, I put all that on my LinkedIn as I went. That's a really big key for me. Like, everything that you do, make sure you post and make sure you talking about it. Like, people be like, how do you get all these opportunities? Because everything that I do, somebody knows about it. It's not just hiding on my resume, for whatever random jobs that I apply to. Everybody is gonna know what I'm doing. So when I finished Clicks, I posted the certification that they gave me on LinkedIn. And that was all I had. But in my first initial interviews for my 2 roles that I've held in security so far, that was the only experience that I could talk about. But that still gave me a benefit over other candidates because I had practical experience.
Just listening to your story, you were going to be successful no matter what path you went down because you are good at doing the big P, and that's preparation. A lot of people, it's like you, it's not a Bible podcast, seek and ye shall find. That's what you did.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are waiting on a magical answer to tell them, oh, you should do this and this. But I'm pretty sure that thing, when you found Clicks, did it just start off by you just typing in cybersecurity projects or something?
I wasn't typing in cybersecurity projects, but I really was deep into the cybersecurity community on LinkedIn. So I had my timeline on LinkedIn was curated for any opportunity that was coming up for anybody that wanted to get into cybersecurity. I was gonna see it.
Yeah.
So I was on LinkedIn like that was my job. Facebook, Instagram, that was gone. I was on LinkedIn all day long.
See, you was dedicated.
Yeah.
But what's funny? In the way that LinkedIn can work for you, Twitter can service that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've known people who've gotten jobs off of Twitter based off like what they post about and whatever. But no, when students, whenever y'all see this, or clients, I'm sorry, y'all not students, y'all clients. Whenever you see this, or future clients, when you go about showing and broadcasting what you're knowing, and I tell these people all the time about branding, and I say, hey, I'm not telling you to brand as an influencer. I'm telling you to simply brand yourself as a person that's pivoting into cybersecurity, what you're learning about, showing your personality and your passion behind it. Because sometimes when it comes to you, I've showed them this plenty of times. There have been times I applied to jobs and I'm like, you know what? I really like this company. Let me see if I follow anybody that works there, or let me see if I can find who's on that team that works there, which I've done both. And based off of my content and based on what I post on LinkedIn, these people say, oh, you'll be a great addition to the team. Let me tell the hiring managers or whatever. So if you are doing all these things on your LinkedIn, just starting off, and now somebody goes to check like your thing, if you sent them a message, it's like, oh, this person they serious. They trying to get to it. We need people like this here. And that's when people want to help you. But if you don't have anything on your LinkedIn, but you stay and you want to do something, and it's already hard enough to prove what you know, it's going to be harder for you to get a referral or somebody to even want to help out. So all I'm trying to say is you don't have to mimic what she did, but you need to do some of it.
That's actually, like what you said, is exactly how I got my job right now. Literally from me posting all the organizations that I'm a part of, all of the everything that I participate in, all the accomplishments, just along my entire journey, everything is posted. So when somebody is looking for a certain skill set, if I match that skill set and I come up because it's posted on my profile, my current manager was looking for someone who was involved in organizations. They had actually, he was in communication with another WESIS member who was going to have my job, and she ended up, she got like her dream job, so she was no longer in the running for the role. But she was like, hey, check out somebody who's a member of WESIS. I started a WESIS chapter at my campus. So when you type in, let me see who in WESIS, I'm the one that come up.
All I hear is Reese's right now.
It's WESIS, Women in Cybersecurity, and it's pronounced WESIS, like we sisters.
Okay, I see. I never knew how it was pronounced. Like I said, I met
a lot of people say WESIS, but it's WESIS, like we sisters.
Yeah, I met two of your wee sisters a couple months ago. But no, that's cool, man.
My manager wrote me. He asked me to apply for this job. Like,
yeah,
I didn't apply.
And so he
found me.
That's one of the other reasons why I do want to be in management, so I can say I'm gonna pull somebody in here. If y'all ain't gonna get right, it's not a regret because I didn't really have the opportunity to sign off for people getting hired. Like one of my jobs I really loved, but our analysts was all men, and that's the other thing that used to be hard too. It used to be hard to find the women interested in doing some of these jobs or the applicants. I always wanted a woman to be on the team. I was like, I don't care if they white, black, or brown or whatever. They're going to show them all up, and they gonna have to either get with it or get lost because they was too lazy for me. And I was like, I need somebody who's gonna act like they gotta pay for baby formula on my team. I said, I need that. I never got it on that team, and it's hard to get really anywhere because it's so male dominated.
And that's a good point. So like you have men who are similar to yourself that want more women, who are allies for women in cybersecurity, and want to promote the diversity. But you also, on the other end, have to look at the culture that you're bringing that woman into. When I was in my previous role, it was at a contract job, and no shade to the job at all. It was like nobody was mean to me. It was just the environment was very much like you said, with like it was an older company. Everybody that had been there had been in IT for like their entire careers, and they were like 60 something. So coming into that environment, I just felt very isolated. And it was the first time that I ever, I feel like when I'm at conferences or when I'm, speaking to other minorities and say, the question always comes up, like, how do you feel like, how do you manage being a Black woman in tech? And I'm like, before that experience, I never considered my identity as a Black woman in anywhere. I was a teacher. I was in customer service. I was in spaces where you're supposed to be. And that was my first experience realizing that I was in a space where I wasn't supposed to be. So it was a lot of pressure. And I felt like if I come into this job and I'm not on my game, like I now represent every Black woman for the rest of the time for these people. And I wasn't in a good headspace, like realizing that, because the culture didn't contribute to me being comfortable there to show up as myself. My current company, completely different. My manager, just like he found me, he was very intentional about curating our entire team. So my manager is a white male. Everybody else, a straight white male. Everybody else on our team is not. So we're a team of 6, and he's the only one that fits the mold, right? Like he made it a point to go out and find other people that could fill those
Smart
roles.
Person,
right?
Nah, I definitely I can't wait. One day I'm gonna have a live stream. Say everybody dealt with microaggressions. We're gonna be on the live stream. We're just gonna talk about all the microaggressions that we've dealt with. Just because you feel them, and you can't say much because you just taking it until you can do what you gotta do.
Somebody didn't give me a SOC analyst role because he found out that I was a single mom, and he was like, "Oh, well, this is an overnight position. Like, I don't think this will work for you." Like, blatantly told me that in the interview, and I didn't get the job.
You should have reported them.
I really should have. I was very green. I didn't know anything at the time.
And it's really only because even if you didn't even plan to work there, which it don't sound like it's a place to work at.
No.
But it would have probably got him out of there and got somebody else in there, because it's like, okay, what does that have to do with me? Like, you don't know anything about my situation besides I have a child. But I think, and like I said, it's funny, every time I'm having podcasts with people, I'm having video ideas and stuff I want to probably address in a video that's not an interview. I think women run into that a lot of not getting hired because of either they got kids or something like that. They feel like the childless woman or the childless man or even the man with kids would be a better fit than the Black mom, because they know that 9 times out of 10 she don't have any help and she always got to do something for the kid. I really feel like that's a hiring bias that a lot of people have on them.
Yeah.
Keywords I feel. I don't know it. I can't prove it. I don't even think there's a metric out there to prove it besides just finding people who've experienced this thing, being moms, and figuring out how that goes.
I had another interview and it came up, and I was like, I'm very triggered because this actually has happened. Like, somebody asked me, "Oh, well, can you handle being on call because you're a mom?" And I'm like, yes. Like, what I do outside of work don't concern you. Like, when I log off of here or whatever I have going on, I will manage that. And then if you do hire me and you feel like my personal life is intervening with my work life, we'll handle that at that point. But don't count me out for a role that I'm clearly qualified for or overqualified for because you feel like I have a child, so I might not be able to keep up. I've been keeping up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like I said, but I like through interviews when they show that it's not a place that you need to be at. Like, if you ever ask me something that dumb.
Exactly.
Like I know, I think I had some friends that had interviews where people showed up late and was kind of disrespectful. I walk off. I'd be like, all right, I'm gone. Go waste somebody else's time. Please do. So now you got the interview and you got the job. Now, refresh my memory of, I know you're doing security engineering. I know you say you meet with a lot of vendors. And so could you talk about your job and like day to day at a high level? I don't want you exposing too much about who vendors maybe you guys work with or things you do that way. If somebody ever searches your name and sees it, so, just keep it as high level as possible.
So me, day to day, it could be a little bit of everything. Like my title is security engineer, but I could be doing GRC work. I could be doing SOC analyst work. I could be doing just about anything. So a large portion of my job is identifying vendors that we're going to work with, or that's been the projects that I've been on, identifying vendors that we're going to work with, really doing the process from start to finish, like doing the POCs with the different vendors, testing the product out, comparing it to other products on the market. I use a lot of Gartner for comparison purposes. And basically seeing how those tools would work in our environment, if it would fit the need for us. And then if I determine that they will, then we do the business side of things, handle the money, and I work on the implementation of that product, getting it up and running, doing the training for other individuals in the organization on how to use it, and a lot of the maintenance piece. So if you hear this, if your title is security engineer, you're probably not going to be doing all this. Like in larger companies, you're probably only going to work on like one piece of this. But for me, I work for a startup, so I can pretty much have my hand in anything. Like we, for one of our products that we use, I typically don't manage that product, but there's only one other individual that manages it. So he was out one day. So my manager was like, okay, somebody got to figure out how to do it. So now I'm the person. Yeah. So I do a lot.
So you're like a security generalist engineer.
Basically.
No, I think that's a good way for people to start off. I forgot who I was talking to recently, and they said they pretty much started off as a generalist, and I was like, it's a good way to start off because if pretty much lets you figure out what you want to do and what you don't want to do.
Right.
And so I think that's good. Since you said you could be doing some SOC work or you could be doing the GRC stuff, any cool tools that you've gotten to learn how to use?
This video is being sponsored by TechTual Consulting. Are you still struggling to get into cybersecurity? Are you not getting interviews? Do you have a bad resume? Or is it all the above? Well, if that's you, then we got you covered at TechTual Consulting. My name is Henry Davis. I'm a career coach and a cybersecurity professional, and I've helped hundreds, maybe even thousands of people get into cybersecurity with my coaching and my content that you've seen in various places. Now, I specialize in specifically getting people in the blue team. That would be incident response or SOC analyst. I can cover everything from your entry level to your medium to your advanced skills and really help you outperform your resume. You don't believe me? Check out some of these testimonials that I've had from recent clients. So if you're interested, click the link in my bio, techtualconsulting.com/offerings to see what offerings that we have available for you. Now, back to the show.
So anything around application security, so like SaaS and DAS tools, things like that. I never thought coming into this space, like whenever people ask me originally, what area of security do you want to be in? GRC was like the one that stood out the most because that felt like, and I feel like a lot of people do this when they say they want to get into security, like they want to gravitate towards GRC because
they think it's easy.
Like you have transferable skills because you did XYZ at another company. So for me, I didn't want to just gravitate to GRC because it was going to be the easiest for me. Do I like it? Yeah, in a way. But I'm actually really fascinated by the application security, product security side. But I do not know how to code. So that opened up a whole new can of worms because now I have to learn how to do that in order to explore this whole other subset. So whenever they say you don't need a code to be in cyber, that's not always true. You should probably learn just in case.
Well, you're bringing up another point. Most people are fixating on the easiest things for us to do. They're never saying, hey, go do this so you can do this hard role. Because you know why? They know it would take time for the person to do it. A lot of times people are trying to sell people to do different things. Like for me, I do tell people to get into GRC sometimes on the call, but it's not because it's easy. I'll tell them sometimes I feel like their skill set better much lines up with it, and it'll be easier for you probably to do this versus like you said, want to be a SOC analyst. So nobody has no skills. They got to go through. Maybe they want to do the blue team level 1. They want to do this SIM project and all these other things, and now they got to learn about all these different domains. And not only that, be confident, be good at it in the interview. And a lot of people aren't good at that. And so I've like remember people that's like have law backgrounds, so they did them. So I was like, it's like you doing an audit right here, sir.
Right.
And I'm like, you need to go ahead and skedaddle right there and figure out that jargon
And
you don't know.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with starting in the space where your skills are the most transferable. But I do now see the error in being complacent and in staying there just because it's easy. Like if you got into security in a GRC role because that was the door that opened for you, that makes sense. But don't cut yourself off from the technical side of things just because you feel like you can't do it. Free Code Camp is right there. Harvard CS50 is right there. All these free training programs, they're right there. Google is right there. Like if you want to be more technical, you can.
And I think there are some technical GRC roles. I think it's just a misconception that people don't have to be technical to do GRC roles. When you do some of your SOC stuff, do y'all have like a SIM?
So we have managed them. So we outsource it basically.
Okay.
So we get the escalated tickets.
Got it. Dang, you can't tell me who y'all vendor is. Do they do a good job, whoever they are?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you after.
Yeah, most of them don't do a good job.
Yeah.
That's just like we gonna eventually get some more money and bring some people internal.
A lot of it has to do with the configurations too. Like you have to fine tune the alerts that you want. You have to, you have to be specific as far as what you're looking for. It's not a set it and forget it thing.
Yeah, but a lot of them aren't even good at that. A lot of them is just like this is a contract, some money. So that's like the game you play when you get like you manage it out. And then
so it's okay. So ours is not like a MSP where like there's another human who works for another company. It's like a specific company that's dedicated just to doing this.
Oh, so y'all have like for example, I used to work for MSS, but in the MSS we had different functionalities. Like the contract I was on, we were dedicated to that one client. I had no other clients I was working on for Optiv at the time. So maybe it's like that for you. Y'all got to say, hey, we want a dedicated client, and that's what we want to do for this thing, because that's really the only best way that your environment going to be taken care of the best. If they're just sending escalations out, that's a no-go.
Yeah. And I think for us, because we're so new, we're still building out our security program. We're still building out our product. So we haven't had as much action yet. Like, I mean, look, knock on wood, because look, I ain't looking for it, but we don't have enough evidence to tell, to really
They definitely should get at me. Now, so you've been 1 year in. I still call you a newbie. How does that feel? How does it feel to be a year into your career? You finish your master's, all from nothing. Hard work, determination got you where you want to be at. How does that feel?
It feels great, but I don't know. Like,
is it surreal? It's
surreal, and I sometimes have to like check myself and realize, like, not to pat myself on the back, but like what I've done, because there's always more to do.
Yeah.
I never, obviously getting into this, like I said, I thought I was signing up for a technical skill to go do my 9 to 5 and be done with it, but it's not. There's always something else. I'm studying for 2 certifications right now. Like,
look at
so, I finally got the Security Plus, and, I have my master's now. So I'm going to add some cloud certs on top of that. I'm studying for the CISA.
Which one?
Which cloud cert?
No, you said CISA. Is it?
The CISA.
Okay.
Yeah, the auditor.
Got
yeah,
it.
and that's mainly not because I want to utilize it. It's more so because I already took the class for it in school, so I might as well.
You do want to utilize it.
I mean, I would like to check. It's gonna check my box later on down the line.
She's like, hey, I got this cert, this cert, this cert, this cert.
Yeah.
I want to get paid this, which works sometimes. A lot of people think they get all them certs.
I used my not my certifications, but I did use my master's status in negotiating my pay
As you
in
should.
my current role. I was like, well, I'm not. I was like, look, y'all hiring me in December, or no, I got hired in September, and I was like, I'm almost done with my master's. I'll be done by the middle of next year. So the price is going to go up. So you might as well pay me today, before all the recruiters see that I have this master's and they start, the influxes in my LinkedIn. Like, just solidify my spot here right now, and we'll be good.
Yeah.
And they did.
That's good. I told somebody that too. We were talking about, who was I talking about? Or I was explaining to them, like, when it comes to negotiations, that's when your education and stuff plays a part based on your peers and what they did, how it was you interviewed. That's when you can start asking for what you're asking for. 'Cause I was talking to a recruiter the other day, and she was like, I forgot what she said she wanted, or what they were looking for. I was like, yeah. I say, plus, I said, I ain't go to, I think it was like a management role. I said, I ain't go to get my master's for nothing. And so I was like, all this stuff comes into play.
Yeah, and you can actually use it to compare against the market. Like when a lot of people say, and especially for us, because a lot of us were never taught how to negotiate. They say, oh, make sure you negotiate when you get a role, and nobody knows what that means. Like a lot of people interpret that as, let me ask for more money because I should have it. No, whenever you're in a negotiation, you have to come with facts. You have to come with receipts. Like, this is how much people in this role are making with this type of experience, with this,
I need that.
This level of education, So when you're able to present that and say, this is why I'm asking for this amount of money, and you actually, the top of your range is actually lower than what I should be making, then at that point, they can go back and say, yeah, this is a really good candidate with these qualifications because of the evidence that you presented, and get your bag.
Yeah, now some companies are good at just having one range be for everybody. The other people try to get you with that. Well, I don't know, what's that TikTok song? Well, black people. Well, they'll hit you with that and like, well, you stay in Texas. And I was like, listen, it's not 2019 no more. If you don't pay me this money. That happened one time talking to T-Mobile. They was interested in a role, and I applied to it. I applied to it because I had a nice range. Then they told me in person, yeah, since you're in Texas, you'll be in Region 3, and this will be the South. I said, that ain't going to work. Yeah, I might as well not call me back unless y'all want to play the numbers I get y'all. And they ain't never called me back. I was like, bet. I was like, you not only finna try to make me make a lateral move and make me come to the office every day. Rick Ross got that. That reminded me of that little meme. No, sir. Not me.
Yeah, at this point, I'm spoiled working remote and making security engineer salary. I say all the time, it would take a good amount of change to get me to come about this house.
Yeah, and you getting California pay, so that's really what's got you spoiled.
Well, they also do the regions. So like I was told that if I was in San Francisco, because when I went to San Francisco, I didn't want to come back. So I told my manager, and he was like, "Well, if you move, they'll give you a cost of living increase."
I think you just saying it just because you was there though.
I loved it. The weather, like
I've only been to Burbank.
Okay, yeah, that's where my brother used to live. In Burbank.
Yeah, I used to. Well, I didn't work for Disney, but Disney was our client. So.
No, it was really nice, and just being able to like go out onto the beach in LA or like the pier in San Francisco. It was really nice. It overlooks the water and it overlooks that one prison. I can't remember the name of it.
In San Francisco?
Yeah.
I don't know. I ain't never been to San Fran.
Somebody in the comments will say the name of it, because my sister called me and she was like, "Oh, do you see the prison?" And I'm like, I didn't know that's what I was looking at, but yeah. Did you go? It's like, beautiful.
They have like them steep hills and stuff like that. Like,
yes.
Did you see that?
And I got in a driverless car.
Oh, the Waymo?
The Waymo, yeah, they're all over the city. They can't go on the highways, so I felt better about that.
I think Waymo is good, especially if Waymo really wants to make that bread. I think they may have I think they're smart. I think they do got a niche when they're saying, "Hey, we want to help your kids get home from school." People don't feel comfortable with people riding the car with their kids, so it's what you call it. And if Waymo say, "Hey, you know what? We'll be the cars that help the ladies get home from the club and stuff," that will be a good selling point. They're finna take some market share from them if they can make sure stuff don't crash and it's enough bandwidth and all that other stuff. Uber and Lyft, they better watch out.
Yeah. It's when I first saw it, when I got to San Francisco, because they're everywhere, like literally everywhere you turn, they're there. And I was like, I'm not getting in the car without a driver, but I ended up in one. That ride was a little bit cheaper than the Uber and the Lyft, so.
Yeah, that's because they getting that data. But like, hey, same way that drivers. Oh, if I have a rig with somebody that's driverless, oh yeah, I'm definitely getting paid.
So like, the upside of being in a Waymo, again, my Uber driver from the airport to the hotel, this man got road rage with somebody in the car next to us. Like, he cut the guy off. The guy like honked the horn at him. He pulled up next to the guy and was like eyeing him in his car. And I'm like, sir, do that on your own time.
Right.
So in the Waymo, I don't got to worry about that.
Right.
Nobody has to talk to me. I don't have to have a small talk.
I don't mind it. Sometimes if, the car ain't stinking. I remember one time we got in an Uber. It smelled like baby diapers. It was stinking. We reported that. I had never reported an Uber ride before that person. I couldn't. I said, ain't no way your car supposed to smell like this. You're supposed to be working for these people.
I've gotten in some that smell like armpits, smell like smoke. Yeah.
A whole mess.
The Waymo was very clean. This is not a promotion for Waymo. It was just a fun time.
Waymo, it is a promotion for you. Like I said, I'm going to send this to whoever
Get the bag by any means.
Yes, whoever does social media marketing for Waymo, y'all will be seeing this clip. I'm gonna put it in somebody's inbox. We'll get somebody over there to you. So you named pretty much like all your functionality, which is cool. I think you're setting yourself up to have a promising career. What do you want to? I remember you shared this with me. I know what you want to do after this role, and so I know you're working on the code. What else are you working on to ensure that that's probably like your next role to do?
Right now I'm really focused in on the application security. So I went to Black Hat a few weeks ago and I met Tanya Jenka, who wrote the book Bob and Alice Learn Application Security.
I don't know who that is, so you have to share that.
Yeah, she had a community called We Hack Purple. Her ad is She Hacks Purple. Also, this is not a promotion, but like my friend said. I'm
gonna put the book right here.
So I actually got her book for free from going to the conference, and I started reading it on the plane ride back, and it was really good. It was focused around like how to do application security, what that means, how to grow an application security program, and I'm in a really good position right now with my role being in a startup because I can build out our application security program. So that's kind of where my focus is right now, learning what I need to do application security, and also how to build that and expand that in my organization and be able to have like that as my baby at my company.
Yeah. I mean, at least the fact that you got, resources that you can reach out to, I think that makes it like perfect for you to do. So I didn't ask you this, and I really asked this because, like you said it's about the money, you said it's about the check. And you gloated a little bit that you're getting this California money or this Texas money, and you don't have to tell us specifically numbers or whatever. You can just use a range, so you can be high level because what happens. Somebody in your family or something gonna see this.
I'm going through a divorce, so I'm not gonna say exactly how much I make, but
don't say it at all. Listen, she worked for free,
right? I'm poor. Please help me.
Because their show be like, I know one of my homies, he did the show, and now everybody just think he got it. Because when we talked the name of the show, I'm like,
all I'm gonna say is it's worth it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm gonna say. It's worth it.
That's good.
And there's a lot of room for growth. Also, I'm making more money than I ever made in my whole life. This is a life-changing career opportunity, and it's something that I never. It's one of those things like you say, oh, I want to be successful. Oh, I want to, have this amount of money. I want to have the nice cars. I want to, do all the things. And you say that's what you want. But coming from where I'm from, a lot of people don't get it. Like, it's just a want. It's just something we talk about, as we're sitting, in our mediocre homes with our mediocre jobs. Like, I guess I wanted it for myself, but I never really saw it for myself. So now that I'm here.
Why do you think you didn't never see it for yourself?
I didn't see nobody else do it.
I'm glad you said that.
Like,
I just shot an episode with shout out my boy D'Amico Chambers, the Cloud Tech Big Unk. We were talking about that. We were talking about one of the reasons for the show, the exposure of the various different things you can do, and whether it's cybersecurity, tech, any type of domain that's tech related, what you can do, especially for Black people. What we typically know what those median salaries and average salaries is in the Black families, and what they do and don't see. And basically most of them are impoverished or in the poverty line, especially with inflation the way it's set up now. Not seeing things. Like, that's why more kids aren't in STEM in certain places, because they don't see anybody in STEM. The same reason why people are abandoning school as well, too, is like the kids in the hood or wherever the suburbs, wherever they stay. They see people that went to school They're struggling like their parents. So they like, why would I go waste money and go get in school to struggle like y'all when I can either get it on my own or find another alternative to get it? And that's why some of them are in the field. So when I come through and hopefully a young, 10, 15, 16, 17-year-old comes through here and see some of my past episodes of me having people on there that's seeded networks of like, $1 million or making 200, 300, 400K in a year, and they did it just from hard work and sacrificing and setting themselves up the right way, that's really what it's about. That's brick by brick how you start changing everything. Say that's how you start seeing somebody. So now that little girl say, hey, I want to be like Devonie. I want to go get in what's called, or maybe it's a mom out there right now that's like, I've been looking for stuff because I've dealt with not dealt with. I don't want to say it like that, like I'm a homeworker or something. I've had consultations for like, single mothers or wives or something like that, and they're looking for something to do to help with the family. So I definitely think I'm glad that you just said that. Like that's just added a testament to the reason why the show was here, and people can just see it. Because once you see it, you can believe it. Like for me, like you said, meager homes. When I moved out here 8 years ago to where my aunt stays in Little Elm, I was like, hold on, I don't see no hood. Everybody got cars and garages. They grass up kept. I changed my mindset of what I thought. Like I know going through school, I think I said, I wanted to make like $80,000. To me, that was a lot coming from where I came from. My parents ain't that make no $80,000.
My first job when I got my first like contract role in security, it was $65,000. That was the most money I ever made, and I was like, wow, like people just out here living like this. And I make way more than that now, but but that was like, it's crazy. Like when you see what you think is supposed to be life changing money and like what's really possible, and like you say, like you have to be able to see it. Like my parents, they worked very hard, but my dad drove trucks. My mom worked in the grocery store, so I had a limited view of what was possible. So
Blue collar view. But I mean, that's in the same vein about that. That's the whole reason why that I respect the working man and woman's dollar, because it's like, it ain't easy. When anybody book a service or something with me, I respect it. You didn't have to spend no money with me. You don't just have this money lying around to waste with me. So I always try to make sure somebody get their worth when it comes to me, because I come from that. Come from a dad, cement mason, mom used to work at Walmart, now works in childcare. I'm not too out of touch. Like recently, shout out to Charleston White. That little Yachty, he out of touch with reality, homie. He been rich a little too long. He don't know what he's talking about. I'm kind of scared about his mindset. Like he said that, but it's a lot of people, when I see these different and various opinions.
That was a good impersonation.
Thank you. I've been working on my impersonations for real, because I see everybody impersonating him. So I might even title that short. Charleston White talks about Lil Yachty in education. But no, in all seriousness though, I see these absurd conversations on Twitter and everywhere else, and people are talking like crazy. I do see some form of it being elitism. People used to say that a lot of veterans, like I'll be on year 11 of my career next year. So the things that we tell people, the newer people were trying to say we were gatekeeping. It's not. Like I still have a viral tweet that said, hey, people want 6-figure tech jobs without 6-figure skills. And people said I was gatekeeping, but I'm like, I'm just telling you, like, it's the truth. I was like, a lot of the people that got hired in 2021, 2022, whatever, they got laid off, and they still trying to shake back. Because some companies, like the big fame companies, they hire people just so the talent, the competitor can have them, and then they laid them off.
Wow.
Yeah. So all that stuff happens, and people just want the shortcuts to success. But I'm telling you, you won't be able to sustain it. It's like a person. Most people who probably hit the lotto probably go broke. Most athletes and NBA players, a lot of them, they go broke. Because in a sense, it's kind of a shortcut to a lot of money. Whereas a lot of people who go little by little of earning their money, they are much better with their money. So you've been praying for, $100,000 job, $150,000 job. You came in, it's the $50,000 you got now. What you gonna do with $150,000?
And lifestyle creep is real.
It
is so real.
Oh yeah.
Like some days I'm like, I'll look at how much I have in my check after I pay my bills, and I'm like, dang, all I have is XYZ left over after I paid all these bills, and I'm like, it was months where I wouldn't have anything left over. Or I would be in the negative. Like, I gotta check myself. Like, I
Yeah, I think what's the thing called, like, it's either called survivor's remorse or some of the other stuff. A lot of people who hit hard times or got laid off, something like that. What happens when you start making a lot more money? Sometimes you feel guilty for spending your money. You don't want to spend it. You always feel like maybe tomorrow's the day they say, "Hey, we don't need your services no more." No matter how long you've been in the industry, and that's how you can feel like that. But you gotta be able to enjoy, the spoils of your working whenever you can. Like, just don't go overboard, plan it out.
you gotta have balance.
Yeah, because that'll always be there. But nah, you're right though. But the funny you said, well, I only got, like, that phrase, like, what you mean? Some people ain't got that.
Exactly. Like, I really got to check myself because I still know people. And like you say, the survivor's remorse for me is a little bit different because I know it's other people in the same situation that I'm in. I know other single moms, or I know other moms, just with families that would love to have, my job and, my salary and all these things. And it's like, I see how hard they work and I feel guilty because, like, I'm playing with my friends in San Francisco and my company. Like, I feel guilty sometimes, like, that other people in this situation don't have this.
Yeah. I don't feel guilty because I work hard for it. And I don't feel guilty because I've tried to tell people who don't have it what they need to do to get it, and they don't want to listen.
Yeah.
And so that's
also true.
That's one of the most frustrating things of telling somebody, hey, like 4 years ago, hey, y'all need to get into this. But then you see them a year or two after that, they frustrating about, the companies ain't hiring in the area, or they only got a $2 raise or something. It's like,
it's the whole lead a horse to water. Like, I have people call me all the time, like, and they will list out their list of excuses as to why they can't do XYZ thing that I've done. And I'm like, that's when, I'm going to play my single mama card. Like, I got a baby sitting right here with me. I'm doing this by myself. Like, not by myself. I tell y'all my mama be helping me. But,
I mean, you're the one that's cracking open the books and studying.
Exactly. Like, my situation is not ideal. Everybody wants to wait on ideal circumstances to make a move. You cannot. Like, nothing about me getting into this field, getting into this industry, nothing was ideal. But I did it because it had to be done. So when you call me with excuses about why you can't do it and you're in a better situation than me, like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear an excuse.
My brothers, I'm like, you're childless. And you got way more free time than I got. What's your excuse? I wish I would have had a mentor my age to tell me. If I had somebody give me the play-by-play, I'd be so up right now. 10 years ago.
Literally.
Like,
and I will. Like, it's frustrating because
I don't no more. You got to show me. You have to show me you're worth my time. So, like, one of my good friends, who's more like a little brother in self, years ago, him, two of my other younger cousins, I put them in the group because I knew they all want to do some tech stuff. I'm telling them what to do. Out of blood, he's the only person that responded. So he's the one that initially started getting more of my time and actually saying, yo, I'm doing this, or I just got the job doing this, and all this stuff. And now to see him now, it's because he listened.
mm-hmm.
Or the same thing when you was talking about what you was posting on LinkedIn and everything else. Like, every time I'm going to bring up Dayspring probably to the day I die in 2020, the stuff he was doing I think he might have been 19 or 20 at the time. He was blogging, talking about his experiences, journeys. When he reached out to me, it was value in when he reached out to me and made me say he was going to be pretty much like, a mentee. I was like, all them things, like, work. You only going to get out what you put in.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we coming back to something we talked about earlier, but it's like everything is a circle. It's going to be a time, and you probably already got some now, but you'll probably end up finding more mentees just because you're like, man, they out here, they trying to get it.
Yeah. And that's what like you say, that's what makes you want to work harder and go harder for your mentees that you see actually doing it. Because I have so many people that come and they want the information. You want to waste my time and have me tell you for an hour about how I got into cybersecurity and then I never hear from you again. That's draining, and I'm not doing it. So
didn't you already make a video on that?
I think I made a TikTok, but I'm gonna put it on my YouTube.
Yeah, just make a video, and that, like, when people, because I actually, it kind of grinds my gears a little bit when people hit me up and like, oh, how'd you get in cybersecurity? And you're not looking at my LinkedIn and saying, oh, I'm a content creator. Let me see if he created content on it. I sent him a playlist that says cybersecurity journey. And I'm like, here you go.
Yeah. And that's why I started getting more on the side of, like, creating content and stuff like that, just to have a place to say, like, okay, this is where you can start. Like, if you come to me and you want to know how to get into cybersecurity, you better know what cybersecurity is. you better know, you better have some kind of foundation. And if you don't, I'm going to send you to go get that foundation before I invest my time into you.
No, hey, that's facts. Let me ask you this: what is something that you wish I would have asked you that I didn't ask you?
I feel like you covered all the bases. I guess like the importance of like organizations, because that's something really big for me. That's been a really big part of my journey.
Let's talk about that, because I've actually been. I know Weesis.
Mm-hmm.
They put us in a group with some people, and I definitely they got a good presence out here. I actually want to do some more work with them.
Mm.
But yeah, let's talk about that, and I guess how either somebody can start an organization in that area, or how do they find out the good ones to join.
Yeah, so a lot of the organizations that I'm a member of, so what I did, because I was a student, so that goes back to like the benefit of being in school. You do get a lot of perks that you wouldn't get if you don't have a .edu address. So for me, being a student, I was able to join all of these organizations for like $20 a year. And I was able to kind of like trial and test out which ones I got the most value from, which ones worked for me in my life, which ones was doing a little bit too much. Like, because it is a level of involvement that you have to have when you sign up for these things, or that you should, because you don't want to just be, blindly signing up for a slew of organizations, and then you're not going to uphold your commitments by being a part of the organization. So I joined Women in Cybersecurity. That was the first one that I joined, and I started a chapter at my school. Honestly, the chapter that I started didn't really go anywhere because I was virtual, and a lot of people that were in my classes, they had children and lives and everything, and they just weren't as invested in doing all the things like I was. So I was kind of by myself in that. But WESIS is an international organization, so they have an international presence. They have a yearly conference, but then they also have a Dallas chapter. They have a Houston affiliate chapter, and the student chapters. So you can join one of your local chapters and also join WESIS national. So that was one of the first ones I did, and I gained a lot of access to resources that I would have never found out about. Like I found out about Last Mile organization, who their mission, they help cybersecurity students at 2-year, 4-year colleges, basically with the obstacles that are not specifically school related. Like, okay, yeah, if you're in school, you can get a scholarship, but they're probably going to send that money to the school. You'll never get access to it. If you get too much, they'll take it back. Like, so with Last Mile, during my transition before I got my first job, they actually awarded me a grant because my car wasn't working. Like I needed new tires for my car. Like I didn't have insurance for months. Like I was going through like a personal obstacle, and they were able to grant me money to get through life to be able to continue my education. So I found that through WESIS. The ISC Squared Boot Camp, did that through them. I'm also a member of NSBE, National Society of Black Engineers. So they have a yearly conference. I got a scholarship through them. And these are like, when I say it's money out here, like when you go looking for it. So I applied to, actually I found out about NSBE through the Houston chapter scholarship. And then I joined NSBE National, and I got a bigger scholarship the next year. I went to their conference, but it was just another opportunity, very similar to my experience at Afrotech, just meeting and networking with like-minded individuals, increasing your exposure to the field, opportunities, things like that. So I'm a really big advocate for joining organizations, because you're going to find people who are at all stages of their career, and they're going to put you in the door for opportunities that you may not have had those opportunities for, just simply because y'all in the same organization.
Yeah, that's cool. I hope y'all took the notes on that, because I'm like, hold on, I should have hit them up years ago when I was like,
it's not too late.
Man, I don't know. It's probably too late, but I ain't been in school in years. So.
You don't know. Okay, so every organization that I'm talking about, some of them do have scholarships and things that are specifically for students, but you can join these organizations at any time in your career.
I was talking about the scholarship stuff.
Well, some of them, even with WESIS, like the opportunities that they have, they're not just for students. Okay. So like I'm doing the SANS training scholarship cohort that they have going on. So they're partnered with SANS to, it's like in levels. So the first stage is like a capture the flag event, and then they do like a try hack me, and then you have to do like the normal like SANS questionnaire that they put you through to get into any of their like free training scholarship classes. So I'm doing that, and I'm technically no longer a student, but I'm a member of WISA, so I have access to that training. You know what I'm saying? Trainings,
10 G's.
yeah, at minimum, and those certifications hold weight. They're very well respected.
Yeah, I have some instances where the company didn't want to talk to me if I didn't have a certain SAN cert, and they was paying money. They was paying that job. If somebody was to work that job probably for a year, I think that job would pay them like $300K just for that certification they wanted. Like, so there is money to be made. Now, here's my last question: are you a movie person?
No.
What are you? Like, what's your stick? I'm gonna find an angle.
I'm so boring.
Outside of studying, what you do when you come up for air?
Sometimes I go to sleep.
Okay. Memory foam.
Play with my daughter.
Memory foam pillow.
A memory foam pillow. Do I have one?
Yeah.
No.
All right. I was going to ask you something funny. Like, for me, I sleep. Well, most of us in the house now, we sleep with like rain sounds or white noise, brown noise.
Yeah, white noise is a thing.
Man, you ever? Since you're a parent, I bet you didn't deal with this before. You never tried to put your daughter to sleep for their nap, and then you end up going to sleep with her
all the time. So my daughter, unfortunately, I've conditioned her to co-sleep with me. So now I redid our entire guest room, and I made that her room. The walls are pink. She has a nice house bed. I was like, oh yeah, she's really gonna want to sleep in here by herself. No, she doesn't care. So I go in there to put her to sleep at night so I can go study afterwards, and I fall asleep with her.
Yeah, you just fall asleep with her, and then you get up out there and just leave her in there.
Yeah, I never end up getting up.
So you got to get up. You got to get up, and then eventually she'll be like, okay, this is my room. And if she wake up in the night, she'll probably cry a little bit, look around. She'll go back to sleep. Ain't nothing wrong with her. She ain't wet. She fed. She'll go back to sleep. It took us a minute for my baby girl, but like, man, she finna stop fooling us. Get in this bed, go sleep, girl. But guys, I hope you really enjoyed this episode. And Patreon people, of course, they're gonna watch it first. So support the Patreon. Devonie, where can they follow you at?
My Instagram is now at DevTalksTech. I ain't really talked about a lot of tech on there yet, but I'm about to start. Y'all hold me accountable.
DevTalksTech, are they allowed to find you on LinkedIn?
You can find me on LinkedIn at Devonie Nelson.
All right, and I will have those in the description. We use that so the listeners can know how to find her. But like I always say, until next time, we out. Peace.